Hello everyone, it's Becca from BEKAHBOOKSANDBUJO, and welcome to episode 4 of Pack It or Pass It. First of all, I need to apologize for my voice. I am having some sort of sore throat. It's not even that sore, but I'm hoarse. And sorry if it's hard for you to hear me. I'm trying to project as much as I can, and the show must go on. So in today's episode of Pack It or Pass It, we are looking at my mystery and thriller shelves. There's maybe like one horror on this shelf, but I'm not a horror reader. And so mostly mystery and thriller on this shelf. And I'm excited to just look through and see which ones I'm going to pack and take with us on our move, and which ones I will pass on to somebody else. I feel like this will be a fun shelf because mystery and thrillers, the first chapter is supposed to hook you. It's supposed to grip you and make you want to keep reading because of the mystery of it all, right? You want to know what's happening next. And so I feel like this will be really fun to read the first chapters of these mystery and thriller books. So let's just go through. Again, these are in alphabetical order by author. All right, the first one we have is While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. This is one I've really wanted to try for a long time, but I never want to pick it up. So I'm going to immediately put it in the try chapter pile. This one is a gripping, complexly plotted thriller set within the halls of the U.S. Supreme Court. I think I might like it. I think political thrillers sound exciting to me. Next up, we have The Last Flight by Julie Clark. My friend Molly recently gave this one to me. She says it was super thrilling, and I'm going to put it to the test. I'm going to try a chapter and see if I like it and if I want to continue reading it. Then we have The Long Call by Anne Cleeves. And you know what? I'm going to immediately pass on this one without trying the chapter. Like, even looking at this, I don't remember what this book is. And why should I have a book on my shelves that I know nothing about? I feel like if I have a book on my shelves, I want to read it, right? So this one I don't really want to read. I'm just going to immediately pass. Next up, we have The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. I think this will go in the try chapter pile too. I have heard about this one and I feel like people really like this thriller, but I don't know if it'll work for me or not. Next up, we have A Ton of French, which I've never tried, but I've heard that they're good thrillers. I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about these books. This is The Likeness. 6 months after a particularly nasty case, Detective Cassie Maddox of Dublin's murder squad is summoned to an eerie crime scene. It's only when she sees the body that Cassie understands the hurry. The victim, a young woman, is Cassie's double and carries ID identifying herself as Alexandra Madison, an alias Cassie once used as an undercover job. Yeah, that sounds intriguing. I hope the first chapter is good and I want to keep reading it. Okay. The next two I am going to pack. I really feel like Janice Hallett will be a fun mystery author. I've heard that she does super cool things with mixed media and like emails, text messages, phone calls. I said emails already. What else? I don't know, but I want to try Janice Hallett, and I feel like she could be a fun author taste test, especially when I own 2 of her books already. So I'm going to pack these ones. Keep them on my shelf for now, and I will be packing them later. Next up, we have The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I'm going to try a chapter of this one. Oh, there is a note in here, which is odd because I think I got this from Molly too. Oh yeah, that is her writing. Anyway, Molly, hopefully you don't need this note. I think this is more of a mystery and, what am I going with here? Domestic mystery thriller. So we'll see if that works for me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So we'll see what the first chapter holds. Wowee. Okay. Lisa Jewell. I have 2 of her books and I haven't tried any books by her, written by her. I first heard of Lisa Jewell from None of This Is True, which was like her big hit in 2023. Was it 2 years ago already? So I'm going to try the first chapter of both of these and see if I like her writing. If I agree with it, great, I'll keep them. If not, I'll pass on them. Another one I'm going to try a chapter of, The Plot by Jean Hanff Corlitz. This plot really intrigues me about a person stealing someone's like manuscript after that person had died. So, I don't know. We'll see if the first chapter works. How many times can I say we'll see if the first chapter works for me? Okay. Another author that I have 2 books from. I have read a lot of William Kent Kruger, but mostly I've read his historical, like literary stuff. I haven't tried his Cork O'Connor mystery series. Iron Lake is the first, and then I don't even know what number Northwest Angle is, probably way down the line. For a while I wanted to like own all of these, and I don't know if that's necessary, but I do want to read them because I really like William Kent Kruger's writing. And so whenever I'm in the mood for it's not cozy mystery, but just like a mystery that I know has good writing and is from a Minnesota author, I will turn to these. So I am keeping these on my shelves. Well, I'll be packing them, is what I mean. Another author that I have 2 books and that I've never tried anything is Sherry Lapina. I have Someone We Know and Not a Happy Family. I'm going to put these in the try chapter and see if I like Sherry Lapina. Someone We Know says, in a quiet, leafy suburb in upstate New York, a teenager has been sneaking into houses and into the owner's computers as well, learning their secrets and maybe sharing some of them too. Another domestic thriller, maybe. And then Not a Happy Family also looks like a domestic thriller. In this family, everyone is keeping secrets, even the dead. Okay, so these ones are about secrets. We'll see if I like them. Jennifer McMahon, My Darling Girl. This is the one horror that I feel like I have on my shelves. I feel like this was in the horror category for Goodreads, or the horror category for the Goodreads Choice Awards a few years ago. Allison O'Connor has a picture-perfect family life in small town Vermont, with her husband Mark and their 2 daughters, the rebellious teenage Izzy and precocious elementary schooler Olivia. Everyone is busily putting up holiday decorations around the house when Allison gets the call. Mavis, her estranged mother, has been diagnosed with cancer and has only weeks to live. She wants to spend her remaining days with her daughter, son-in-law, and 2 granddaughters. Allison grew up with her mother's alcoholism and violent abuse and has little desire to relive those traumatic memories, but she reluctantly agrees to Mavis's last request, hoping that they both might be able to heal and have the relationship she's always dreamed of. But when mysterious, increasingly terrifying things start to happen upon Mavis's arrival, Allison begins to wonder if something far more sinister is at play. Ooh, that sounds creepy. I don't do well with super creepy books, but we'll try it. And also, like, how far are you willing to go for someone who has hurt you, but they're a part of your family? So we'll see. I'm trying a chapter, if I didn't say that. Kate Morton's Homecoming. I think I'm going to pack this. For some reason, I feel like this is going to be really good with like historical elements and mystery and maybe a little bit of magical realism. A sweeping saga that begins with a shocking crime, the effects of which echo across continents and generations. I don't know, it just sounds like a book for me. Do you agree? Have you read this book? And do you think it would be a book for Becca? Let me know. I'm going to pack it. Oh, 2 more that I'm just automatically going to pack. Richard Osman's The Bullet That Missed and The Last Devil to Die. This is books 3 and 4 in his Thursday Murder Club series. I loved the first 2, gave them both 5 stars. These I know will be hits for me, so I'm definitely packing these. Wild Horses is by a local author named Amy Pendino. I read the first in this little duology and I enjoyed it. It was a little slow going, but ultimately I did enjoy the story. It was called The Witness Tree, and I want to keep this one for the story, but 2 because it's a local author, and I bought it straight from her. She signed it, personalized it, I think. Yep, for Becca. That's so cool. And I want to give it a try. And then once I'm done with these, I think I might pass them on to my friend Molly, who was at this author event with me. So I'm packing this one. Next up, I have Saint X by Alexis Shaitkin. I think that's what the author's name is, but it's covered by a sticker. Yeah, Alexis Shaitkin. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know. This one I don't really know much about. Claire is only 7 years old when her college-age sister, Allison, disappears on the last night of their family vacation. Okay, yeah. Disappearance. I'm going to try a chapter and see if I like it. Okay, next up is another author I've never tried, Karen Slaughter. The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. What a good rhyme. I'm going to try a chapter of this one, see if I like the writing, see if it's thrilling enough. 2 girls are forced into the woods at gunpoint. 1 runs for her life. 1 is left behind. That sounds pretty thrilling, but we'll see what the first chapter holds. This one I am going to automatically pack. Simone St. James is an author I've wanted to try. One of my favorite gals here on BookTube, Krista, really likes Simone St. James, and I feel like Krista and I agree pretty well on our bookish tastes, so I am going to try The Broken Girls. Well, not try it. I'm going to pack it so that I can read it in the future. Catherine Steadman, Something in the Water. I am going to try a chapter of this one. Another thriller author I've never tried before but heard good things, and I feel like this is maybe her best from what I've heard. So we'll try a chapter and decide if I'm going to like it or not. Another one that I got based on hype is The Paul Bear's Club by Paul Tremblay. I specifically remember hearing Kayla from Books and Lala, her thoughts on this one. She loves this book. I think Katie Colson really loves this book. There are probably a few others, but I've never tried Paul Tremblay. I feel like it's a little weird, but we're going to give it a try in this video and see if he's an author for me, see if I like the weirdness of it or not. Lastly is this little chunk of books right here. Little chunk of books? That sounded horrible. This little shelf of books. It's all of my Louise Penny books. This one is also by Hillary Rodham Clinton, State of Terror, but the rest are my Louise Penny Inspector Armand Gamache series. Let me grab them. Ta-da! This is a lot of books, and I am going to pack all of these because I love Louise Penny. I love the characters she has created in Three Pines. I love Chief Inspector Armand Gamache. I love the French elements in the books. There's a lot I love about this series, and I definitely do not want to part with them. So they will be packed, and they'll be moving with us to our new home. So it looks like I'm keeping a lot, packing 18 right away, but look at this gigantic stack. I don't know if I can even lift it, but I'm gonna try. Wow, this is gonna be the longest video of them all, I think. Ah, here they are. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 books I'm gonna try a chapter of. Wow. We are gonna have to get moving because it could take some time. But again, they should be like fast-paced and thrilling, right? Because they're mysteries and thrillers. We'll see. So I'm just gonna jump right in, and I'll come back to you soon with an update. Hello everyone, it's actually a couple of days later because I fully lost my voice and I wasn't able to talk to you whatsoever. So I did listen to 4 chapters in 4 different books, and I can finally tell you about them because I can finally muster up some sort of voice. Anyway, the first one I listened to was Someone We Know by Sherry Lapena, or Lapena, I don't know. I listened to it, and the narrator, the author, what's it called? Audiobook narrator said Lapena, but there's no Enye, and so I think it's Sherry Lapena. But anyway, I digress. This one, in the first chapter, actually, is there a prologue in this one? Yes, okay, so the prologue was very gory in this one. We are following a woman in the prologue who has a hammer, and she is hitting another woman in the head with the hammer. So that was a little gory. And then later in the prologue, it's about a man. He is going to a police station. Yes?
I'm gonna go potty with
Oh,
you.
okay, let's go. Sorry, I have to take a girl potty. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, then in the second part of the prologue, we get a man going into a police station saying his wife is missing. She left on a Friday night to go on a shopping weekend with her friend, and she didn't return at the end of the weekend. He reaches out to that friend and she said, I didn't go shopping with your wife. So there's that storyline. And then in chapter 1, we're following a teenage boy and his parents. The parents have just found out that he broke into somebody's house and was looking at their computers. So there's 3 different storylines, and I'm very, very intrigued as to how they are all connected. I liked the writing style, and so I am going to pack this one. Next up, we have Something in the Water by Catherine Stedman. In this first chapter, or is it a prologue? Nope, this one's a chapter. We are following a woman, and for the first part of the chapter, she's talking about how difficult it is to dig a grave. She's talking about like how much dirt you have to displace, how much time it would take if you're doing it really well or not so well. If you are driven, you can do this. It was just kind of a creepy way to talk about digging a grave. I've got the kids around me, so sorry if you're hearing extra little babble. But then she talks about why she's digging the grave. It's for her husband. And she said, I'm probably a bad person, but you should maybe decide for yourself what you think of me. So let me go back and tell you what happened. And so she's kind of talking to us as the narrator, and we get to decide if she is a good or a bad person. We're starting off with knowing that she killed her husband, but that's about it. Again, I'm really intrigued by this one, so I'm going to pack it. Next up, I listened to the first chapter of While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. This is a political thriller, and we're following a justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Wynn, I believe is his name, and he's kind of losing it. He's going a little crazy. He thinks that people are after him. I feel like it could be some sort of like dementia or something. He's older in age, and so something's going on there in his brain. And in this prologue, which dang, it's a long prologue. Yeah, 14 pages for a prologue. That seems long to me. But in this prologue, he is telling his caregiver that somebody's after him. He thinks that she's after him and is going to try to kill him or get somebody in his house to kill him. And then at the end of the prologue, the caregiver finds him on the floor and he has overdosed. So there's a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of interest, but ultimately it feels like it's going to be a very slow-paced and slow-burn thriller. And I'm just not as interested in the subject matter, I guess, of the Supreme Court. And so I am going to pass on this. Not that it won't ever come back into my life in the future, because I've heard really good things. And if I want to give it a try in the future, great. But for now, I don't need it. I don't need this like library copy either. And if I do read it, it would likely be a 3 or a 4 star, and I would probably listen to it. So we're going to pass on Stacey Abrams. The last one I have to update you on right now is The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. In this first chapter, we are following a therapist. However, we learned that like 5 or 6 months ago, she lost her license to practice. And so that's a little odd. That seems wrong that she is still practicing out of her home, but okay. She is taking in this couple to talk. The woman is nervous to tell her husband something. And in this first chapter, we learn that she has slept with somebody else. The husband gets really, really mad, and the therapist says, well, that's probably why she wanted to tell you in front of me so that nothing bad happened. She assumes that maybe he would have hurt her in some way. And that's the first chapter. I don't love cheating in my books. I also know that in the second chapter, we are going to follow the woman who cheated. And so maybe we would get some background as to why it happened. Maybe there was a good reason, but I don't really want to follow that story. So I am going to pass on The Golden Couple. 4 down and still like 10 more to go. So I got to get reading and resting my voice some more so that it comes back fully.
Wait, Mommy.
Yeah, Sylvia does have a little heart in her tummy.
But all the big grown-ups have big hearts.
Oh yes, that's true.
And little kids have medium hearts.
Yeah. I guess this time around I am reading them in batches because I have another 4 books to talk to you about. So, I'm trying to think. The first one I read was, I think this one, The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. This one, the format of the book is what's going to make me keep it. I'm going to pack it because it's just very, very interesting. I really only listened to the first It's a chapter, but I would call it more of an introduction or a prologue. So this is about a person named Art Barbara who is writing a memoir. But there is someone who is writing in the margins like this with red ink and saying, no, this is really a novel. They are interested what Art Barbara is going to say about them because they're friends and there must be some sort of tension between them. Bad blood, maybe, I don't know. And I really don't even know what the premise of the book is, but this format is definitely intriguing me and I want to read more. I think it's so fun that at the end of every chapter, this commentator has something to say, but then throughout the chapter, there are little things underlined, you see here, and notes in the margins. So it looks like we're reading like a manuscript of someone and then someone has given comments. And I just think that that's really intriguing and fun. I don't know if it's going to get scary. I don't know if it's going to get spooky. I don't know what it's going to do, but I am here for it and I'm going to pack it. Next up, I tried My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon. This one, I read the prologue and first chapter. So in the prologue, I think we're in the past and we are in the mind of a young girl who is asleep. It's the middle of the night. Her mother comes in after work and is saying goodnight. The mom thinks that the daughter is asleep, so she's saying like some weird, creepy things, and the daughter is listening, but also has a knife under her pillow. So that's weird. And then at the end of the prologue, the mother stabs something sharp into the daughter's back, and we don't know what it is. The daughter thinks maybe a fingernail, or it could be something worse. I don't know, but that's the prologue. And then in the first chapter, we are following a woman named Allie, which there's another main character named Allie in a different book that I read for this video. And I feel like a lot of books, at least I'm finding in these mystery and thrillers, all of the main females start with the letter A. Their names start with the letter A. Anyway, we're following Allie and she is decorating for Christmas with her family. She gets a phone call that her mother is terribly ill. She has pancreatic cancer and will not last long. Her mother's dying wish basically is to see her daughter again. They have a fraught relationship. The mother is an abusive alcoholic and Allie isn't so sure that she wants to see her mother again, but she decides, yes, I will go visit her in the hospital. That's all that happens in the prologue and chapter 1. And I had to do a little bit of research to see what was coming next, and I don't think I'm gonna like it. I feel like there's gonna be some like satanic possession stuff, some like creepy horror stuff that I'm not really into. It makes me feel yucky. And so I'm going to pass on this. I don't know. I don't really like horror. And maybe I shouldn't be saying that right after reviewing The Paul Bear's Club because I think that that is horror, but that might be a little bit more bearable. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling this one and didn't want to read about that icky relationship between mother and daughter. So passing on this one. Another one I'll be passing on is The Plot by Jean Hanff Corlitz. I have basically said this synopsis so many times and I feel like it's a good synopsis, but I read the first chapter and did not like the main character and felt really bored. So in this one, we are following a professor. He is a creative writing professor or some sort of English professor. He's teaching a class in the summer. In the first chapter, he's talking about kind of like what a failure he is. He had a really good book, his first book, and then couldn't write anything after that. So now he is going through his students' like book pitches, and that's where it leaves off. I know what's going to happen next. He's going to steal one of his students' book plots and take it as his own. I think it sounds just kind of boring, actually. It sounds like Yellowface, but worse. I really liked Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This one doesn't sound as exciting, and I really just did not jive with the main character and felt bored in the first chapter, so that doesn't bode well. We are passing this one. And lastly, we have Saint X by Alexis Shaitkin. Now this one, the first chapter is like 37 pages, so I did not read that much. I read, I don't know, maybe 15 or so, which is about generally what a first chapter should be in my eyes. Should be shorter, actually. But this one is about a family who is vacationing on Saint X, an island in between Florida and Venezuela. And really in this first chunk, it's just them getting used to the island, doing some activities. We get introduced to the main character, Allie. Allison is the older sister, and then her daughter Claire, or sorry, not her daughter, her younger sister Clary. And Claire seems a lot different than Allison. I think Allison is a beautiful young woman. People look at her and say, wow, she is a gorgeous young woman. Her parents are very proud of her. And then Claire seems to be different. She is very pale, very light hair. Something seems off with Claire, possibly. And that's really all I read too. I probably should have read more to get to like the hook where we learn that Allison has disappeared on this family trip. But again, I just didn't jive with the writing, was kind of bored. I know I didn't get to like the suspenseful part, but if I didn't like the writing, I wouldn't like the writing even if there was some intrigue. So I'm going to pass on this one too. Wahoo! We are making our way through all of these mystery thriller books. I'm feeling really good about getting rid of more, I think, than keeping, just because I don't have enough time to read all these books. There's just too many books, and books keep coming out. Authors keep writing amazing stories. And so I'm okay to have my TBR be smaller. Anyway, I'm going to keep reading. The next few I don't have audiobooks for, so it'll be a lot of physical reading. We'll see how many I can get done and how quickly. This kind of feels like a boring way to do this, but I have another 3 reviews for you, and it's just what I can do right now, what my mental capacity can handle when I am packing up our life into boxes. Anyway, okay. I read the first chapter of Not a Happy Family by Sherry Lupina, and similar to the first Sherry Lupina I read for this video, I liked this one. This one is about, let me just remind myself, I think there was a prologue. That's the other problem with reading like a few at a time. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, so the prologue is just about, it just tells us kind of like the setting, that we're in this very rich suburb of New York, I want to say. Yeah, it's almost like the Hamptons, but slightly less pretentious, it says. And we are looking at the house, and in this house, it's Easter Sunday, or maybe the day after Easter, and there's a dead woman in the house. So then in chapter 1, it says 24 hours earlier, which is very intriguing to me, because then I feel like everything in the book, or at least the suspenseful parts with the murder happening, is going to happen in those 24 hours, which excites me, intrigues me. When there's a timeline, I like that. So anyway, in chapter 1, we have a few people from the same family all traveling to this house in the Hamptons-like suburb to celebrate Easter, to have their Easter dinner. They're not super excited about it because I don't think this family gets along super well, but I want to know what happens in these 24 hours for a woman to wind up dead in the house. So I am packing this one. Another one I'm packing is The Likeness by Tana French. This one felt very reminiscent of Louise Penny's books, her Chief Inspector Armand Gamache series, with each book kind of being a little mystery encompassed in one. I know that this is a part of a mystery series. Cassie Maddox we follow. She's a detective in this Dublin Murder Squad series. This is the second one, but I've heard it's the best one, so I had bought it somewhere. This one also makes me remember a TV show I used to watch called Castle. I don't even know what it was on, but it was a fun like murder mystery TV series, and I liked that, and for some reason I got those vibes when reading this book. So this one is about Cassie Maddox. She gets a phone call that she needs to report to this murder scene. She's confused because she is off of the murder squad, and when she shows up on the scene, she realizes why she's called to the scene. Someone who looks exactly like her, a doppelganger, her double, is killed. And then, even weirder, the body was found with an ID card that uses her double's name. So that doesn't make sense. She was undercover, and the identity she took on undercover was used on that person's ID. So she's related to this murder somehow, but she hasn't ever seen the woman before. Again, it looks like it could be her sister or someone basically exactly like her. That intrigues me. Also, just like the writing and the setup is going to work for me, I think. So I'm packing this one too. We finally have a pass in this set of 3. We have The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. I've heard really mixed reviews on this one. I tried to go in with an open mind. I read the first 2 chapters because the first chapter was only like 5 pages long. In the first chapter, we are following Amber, which again, a name that starts with A. I feel like A names are very popular in mystery thrillers. Anyway, Amber is at the gym. She is working out next to a woman named Daphne Parrish, and she makes a connection with her over their sisters who died of cystic fibrosis, but Amber's sister did not die of this disease. She's just trying to get close to this Mrs. Parrish. And then in the second chapter, Amber is at the Met in New York City. Sorry, my kids are running around. And she finds a painting that was donated from Mr. and Mrs. Parrish. Jackson is the man and Daphne. And she thinks that Jackson will be very impressed with her artistic knowledge. And so I can see where this is going. She's maybe going to kill off Daphne Parrish and try to marry Jackson. She must have this like weird super fixation on this family or this couple. And I just wasn't really excited by the writing or the story because I feel like I know where it's going. I can make these conjectures. I don't know if they're real or not, but I just don't think that this is going to be the book for me. So I'm going to pass on this one. I think we have about 4 books left, so we'll see if I come back in one large chunk at the end or if I give you some updates along the way. But again, how I can read right now is just like in large amounts and then film at the end of the day when I can. So I will see you sometime soon with another update. I've finished up my last 4 books on the mystery thriller shelves, so let's chat through them quickly. First of all, I read The Last Flight by Julie Clark. In this one, we are following a woman named Claire, and she is trying to get out of a bad marriage. She is married to a pretty powerful man in politics, and she has tried to leave him before, but it hasn't worked. Now she has a friend from high school who is helping her escape, and the first thing to do is to get on a flight. And in the prologue, we get the perspective of a man who is following her on this flight. I don't quite understand who he is or how he's going to play a part, but the other thing to note is right under the prologue, it says the day of the crash. And then in the first chapter, Claire's chapter, it says the day before the crash. So something's going to crash, and I assume it's going to be the airplane. I am super intrigued by this one, and I am going to pack it. Then I read the first chapter of Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, and I liked this one too. It seems that we are following 2 different women. The first is a senior in high school named Ellie, and she has just started a relationship with a boy named Theo Goodman, and we know that she has disappeared. The other woman we're following is Laurel, and that is Ellie's mother. Laurel is a mom to 3. Of course, Ellie is the one that is missing, and so she still has the 2, Jack and Hannah. Laurel is dealing with the loss of her daughter 10 years later, but then we're also going back to chapters called Then, and it is from Ellie's perspective leading up to her disappearance. So I was super intrigued by the 2 timelines, by the motherhood aspect of Laurel dealing with the loss of her daughter or the disappearance of her daughter. Who knows where Ellie is, but I am going to keep this one. I was super invested within just the first 10 pages, so I want to know more. Then I picked up the other Lisa Jewell I have, thinking I would be just as invested in Then She Was Gone, but this one I did not get the same feelings from. It obviously didn't stick in my brain enough that I need to go back to my notes. Let's see. Oh, very similarly, we're following 2 different women. The first is a high school girl Her name is Sapphire. She is raised by her uncle. She experienced something when she was 10 years old that really affected her. It made her hurt herself, and her uncle saw that she was hurting herself and sent her to a child's therapist. That's what we learn about Sapphire. And then we follow Kate. She gets a call from her daughter that a man is following her home. She stays on the phone with her daughter, Georgia, while she is walking home. And that's basically it. I felt really disconnected from the characters in this one and the story too. Maybe it was like what I was doing when I was reading. I was sitting with the kids and trying to keep them entertained. Or maybe it's the fact that I read 13 other mystery and thriller first chapters that I just was like checked out, but I don't feel the need to continue this one. So I'm going to pass on Invisible Girl. And lastly, I read the first 2 pages in The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. Again, I couldn't get into this one. I was finding myself very distracted, and so I got like 4 pages in, wasn't paying attention, so I looked at the back to make sure that this was a story I actually wanted to continue, and I realized it wasn't. The synopsis didn't really intrigue me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pass on this one. Maybe I'm missing out, but I just didn't think so. And again, with a lot of these mystery thrillers, I find that I like to listen to them on audio. And so if there is a book in this video that I passed on that you think I should really give a try, I would likely put it on hold on Libby and give it another go at some point. Let's go through the numbers quickly as to how many I packed and passed in this episode. So I started off with 33 books on my mystery thriller horror shelves. I packed 24, which means I passed on 9. That feels pretty good. About a third I got rid of, a little less. But again, I feel really good about not packing some of these books so that I don't have to move them to our new house. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next Pack It or Pass It episode where I will go through 2 shelves. I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!